Happy 4th of July. My name is Paul Pettifer. Welcome to Paul's Rib Shack. It is the 246th birthday of our country, and we love America here. You can tell that by the flag and our logo. I'm wearing a patriotic shirt today in honor of 1776. But in the nightly singing of the national anthem by yours truly, we love that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. And among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And pursue happiness we have. We were so happy to open this barbecue joint and to share it with all of you. We were so grateful to get to be a part of your life, to be a part of your story, help you enjoy the best barbecue we know how to cook. And so from the bottom of our hearts, our gratitude to all of you and to our great country, right? We love living here, being able to be free and to pursue our own happiness, making barbecue with you. We've had a lot of challenges though since we've opened. All of you have as well. We've had these 4 natural disasters. We opened in October of 2019, and then just a few months later, we had the coronavirus pandemic breakout, and then we had our 4 natural disasters here, plus my bonus one with my house got destroyed. But there's been some impacts from these events that transpired nationally that have really impacted us, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that today on July the 4th. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, the federal government spent $4.6 trillion on various programs like the CARES Act and the American Relief Act. And there have been a lot of things that they did. In addition to that, they had lockdowns where they disrupted a lot of activities. We felt that here, right? We had to move to curbside only, and we put the bands out front, and you guys called 485 Ribs and let us cook for you, and that impact from the coronavirus has been long lasting. The federal government spent that $4.7 trillion, right? That the whole federal budget prior coronavirus was less than $4 trillion, so we doubled the budget. And this is a picture of the deficit, right? The federal deficit. You can see this was the housing crisis in 2008, big spike in the deficit, and then now, oh my gosh, we've just bloomed it so much. Gigantic amounts of money that was spent. Where did that money come from? Well, the Federal Reserve Bank, which is the central bank of the United States, it bought those bonds, that deficit spending, a whole bunch of it, $4 trillion worth that the Federal Reserve purchased. It just did a book entry and it created new money. In fact, you can see that represented here. This is the money supply, M3 it's called. So you can see this big spike right here where we went from $150 trillion in currency to 250 or so trillion just in the matter of this period of time. Most of that big jump right there was from the coronavirus spending and a lot of quantitative easing it's called. And man, those are very disruptive things. And what they've caused us to do is look at something that's difficult. We're actually looking at the mac and cheese recipe. Raise your hand out there if you love the mac and cheese. We love it. And when we looked at the ingredients that make our mac and cheese, we hand grind 5 cheeses every week and make that for you. And we looked at the cost since we opened, since the coronavirus, is up 71%. The stuff that we have to buy to make your mac and cheese, the cost of that's gone up 71%. And that is not a small thing. I was talking with a friend of mine in my office, my laundromat, and we were talking about inflation. What does that mean? How does that work? And so you can just draw a big circle, and that circle represents all the productivity that's happening in a place, right? Let's just say America. So if you want to dig a ditch to run the pipes to your restaurant, you go out with your 2 hands, you dig it, that's pretty slow. You get a stick that's a little faster. You get a shovel, faster still. You get a good shovel and a pair of gloves, faster still. You get an excavator, mini excavator, oh my gosh, much faster. That's productivity. If you want to trim briskets, you can trim so many per hour, or if you can trim twice as many per hour, that's more productivity. More productivity means more opportunity for income. And that same amount of productivity didn't change. Actually, productivity went down in our response to the coronavirus. And the money supply, we just saw it went up a bunch. Well, what does that do? It creates inflation, that gigantic 71% increase in the cost of our mac and cheese. We've really been paying attention to the meat prices because those are the biggest parts of our story. The brisket costs went up about 80% in the last year and a half since the coronavirus breakout. And there's kind of 4 different ways I can measure it, you know, a low of 41, a high of 110, but it's terrible. It's terrible. And I've just spent the last little bit of time just going over every menu item that we buy. But the meats being the most particular ones, right? 83% for the pork. It was lower than that. It was in the 60s, sometimes trimmed back to the 40s, and just the last couple of weeks it's just spiked up. And every item on our list is up. Every one of them. And this is not a small event for any of us. It's painful. And the price of brisket in particular is impacted by a disruption. When we had the coronavirus, we spent a lot of money passing it out freely, and then we had these disruptions, the lockdowns, and those disruptions caused some problems. And one thing that happened in the beef industry in particular is that there's 4 meat packers in the United States who do almost all the beef. And those 4 people, they're regulated by the USDA, and it's hard to get a new entrant to get in there and compete. The regulatory regime makes it slow to have entrants come in. So this is a financial statement of the largest meat packer in the world, JBS rather, and this is their income statement where their revenues grew tremendously during the coronavirus pandemic, and their profits grew tremendously, right? More than tripled during the coronavirus. Now, we're consuming less food, economic activities less, yet their sales go up and their profits skyrocket. Why? Well, the normal restraint for people who raise the prices on something is competition. Other people get in there and cut beef against them, and the regulatory regimes just slow all that down. So the price of beef, I was sitting in the very backyard we're in now, the price of beef that the cattle farmers are selling went up 16%. The guy was telling me at this table, telling me that just a couple of weeks ago. And the price of brisket, I just told you, we went up 80%. So what's the difference between 16% increase on the farm, the ranch, and 80% here? Well, it's interference. It's that disruption causing lots of trouble for us. And you know, we should have competitive responses that keep prices in check, right? If I don't just triple the price here, otherwise, golly whiz, you might not want to come as often. And that just leads us to this difficult thing. Really, we wanted to be the best neighbors we knew how. We all were here on that terrible day when Laura arrived and just endured this together, and we're such strong people. We love the response that we had in trusting our God and helping our neighbors and loving our country here as a people. And we've resisted raising prices because we just didn't want to. We've eaten it. We've just eaten all of that cost increase, hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've eaten, and we just can't eat them anymore. And we wanted to communicate to you our resolve to be strong and to be an agent for our community strength and to overcome these problems, right? Yes, inflation's a big problem. If you're interested in that, you can go to freedomisbetter.com. I'll have some other personal things that don't really involve the restaurant to talk about. And we're gonna be strong together, but we'll have to make some adjustments to our menu prices and be creative together. But we love you. We are Louisiana Strong, and life will continue to be more fun on the Rib List. God bless you. God bless America. Happy 4th of July.